Clint Eastwood was born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31st, 1930, in San Francisco, California, during a period when America was still reeling from the Great Depression. His childhood was shaped by uncertainty, frequent moves, and the realities of working-class life. Raised in the Bay Area, Eastwood attended several schools, including Oakland Technical High School, as his family relocated in search of stability. His father worked various industrial jobs, while his mother held clerical positions, instilling in him a respect for discipline, responsibility, and persistence. These early experiences quietly molded the personality audiences would later recognize on screen: reserved, resilient, and self-reliant. Outside the classroom, Eastwood developed interests that hinted at his artistic depth, including music, learning piano and trumpet, alongside a strong love for the outdoors. Before acting ever became a serious pursuit, he worked jobs such as lifeguarding and manual labor, grounding him in real-world experience that later gave authenticity to the characters he portrayed throughout his career. From television cowboy to international breakthrough, Eastwood's path to stardom was anything but immediate. After small, uncredited film appearances in the early 1950s, his first meaningful exposure came in 1959 when he was cast as Rowdy Yates on the television series Rawhide. The show ran for several years and introduced him to American audiences, though it did not yet make him a star. That transformation came in the mid-1960s when Italian director Sergio Leone cast Eastwood in A Fistful of Dollars. The film's success was unexpected and revolutionary, redefining the Western genre with its raw tone, moral ambiguity, and stylized violence. Eastwood's portrayal of the man with no name was quiet yet commanding, standing in sharp contrast to traditional Western heroes. Follow-up films, For a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, cemented his international fame. Paired with Ennio Morricone's unforgettable scores, Eastwood became the face of a new cinematic language that reshaped how Westerns and anti-heroes were understood worldwide, redefining the Western and the American anti-hero. The spaghetti Westerns did more than elevate Eastwood's career. They challenged decades of Hollywood tradition, where classic American Westerns often depicted clear moral lines and idealized heroism. Eastwood's characters lived in the gray. They were flawed, restrained, and driven by survival rather than righteousness. The shift resonated with audiences during a time of cultural change, mirroring a world that felt less certain and more complicated. Eastwood's influence extended beyond performance, as his minimalist acting style emphasized silence, posture, and presence rather than dialogue. These films helped redefine masculinity on screen, presenting strength as controlled rather than boastful. While some critics initially resisted the departure from tradition, the long-term impact was undeniable. Eastwood didn't replace the Western hero, he expanded the definition. His characters reflected realism rather than myth, grounding the genre in human imperfection. That evolution laid the foundation for modern Westerns and influenced countless filmmakers who sought to explore character depth over spectacle. Dirty Harry and the rise of a cultural icon. In 1971, Eastwood reached another career milestone with Dirty Harry, stepping into the role of Inspector Harry Callahan. The character was controversial, unapologetically tough, and deeply reflective of societal anxieties surrounding crime and justice at the time. Callahan's blunt worldview and relentless pursuit of criminals sparked debate, but also struck a chord with audiences. Eastwood's performance was restrained yet intimidating, turning simple lines into cultural touchstones. The success of the film led to 4 sequels and cemented Eastwood as one of the defining action stars of his era. However, beneath the surface, the role also demonstrated his growing interest in exploring moral complexity rather than glorifying violence. The Dirty Harry films examined the cost of justice and authority, themes that would later become central to Eastwood's work as a director. Rather than being confined by the role, Eastwood used its popularity as a platform to expand his creative ambitions and artistic control, expanding range beyond the strong, silent archetype. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, Eastwood steadily challenged audience expectations by diversifying his roles. Films like Escape from Alcatraz showcased his ability to carry tense, character-driven narratives, while Every Which Way But Loose revealed an unexpected comedic side. These choices demonstrated his willingness to take risks and avoid stagnation. Eastwood understood that longevity required evolution, not repetition. At the same time, he continued refining his understated performance style, allowing emotion to surface subtly rather than overtly. This approach gave his characters authenticity and depth, even in lighter or unconventional projects. By refusing to be boxed into a single persona, Eastwood ensured his relevance across changing cinematic eras. His career during this period reflected quiet confidence rather than desperation, guided by instinct rather than trend. Each project, whether serious or playful, contributed to a broader portrait of an artist committed to growth and self-reinvention. The director emerges, control, craft, and vision. Eastwood's transition into directing marked one of the most significant shifts in his career. His debut, Play Misty, for me, surprised critics with its restraint and psychological depth, signaling a natural talent behind the camera. As a director, Eastwood favored efficiency, simplicity, and trust in performance over excess. He often worked quickly, relied on minimal takes, and emphasized story over spectacle. Films like The Outlaw, Josie Wales reflected his evolving worldview, portraying themes of loss, reconciliation, and moral consequence. By the time Unforgiven was released in 1992, Eastwood had fully matured into a filmmaker of rare authority. The film dismantled, romanticized violence, and re-examined the myths of the Western genre, earning multiple Academy Awards. It wasn't merely a late career triumph, it was a statement. Eastwood was no longer just interpreting stories. He was reshaping how they were told and understood. Legacy films and a deeply human perspective. In the decades that followed, Eastwood directed a series of films that explored vulnerability, consequence, and redemption. Mystic River, Million Dollar Baby, Flags of Our Fathers, and Gran Torino each examined human struggle through different lenses, from grief and guilt to aging and accountability. These films shared a common thread: empathy without sentimentality. Eastwood approached heavy themes with restraint, allowing audiences space to reflect, rather than instructing them what to feel. Million Dollar Baby, in particular, resonated globally, earning him additional Academy Awards and reaffirming his relevance in modern cinema. His storytelling matured alongside him, shifting focus from dominance to introspection. Rather than glorifying strength, his later work often questioned it. This evolution demonstrated artistic courage, as Eastwood willingly interrogated the very archetypes that once defined him. Few filmmakers have managed to critique their own legacy with such honesty and grace. John Wayne and the evolution of the Western ideal. For years, audiences speculated about Clint Eastwood's relationship with John Wayne, the towering symbol of classic American Westerns. While the two never collaborated, their careers represented different philosophies within the same genre. Wayne embodied moral certainty and heroic clarity, while Eastwood gravitated toward ambiguity and realism. In later reflections, Eastwood acknowledged Wayne's enormous cultural impact, recognizing his presence, professionalism, and influence on American cinema. Rather than rivalry, Eastwood's perspective revealed respect tempered by creative independence. He never sought to imitate Wayne, choosing instead to reflect a changing world where heroes were more complex and flawed. Their contrasting styles illustrate the evolution of the Western itself, from mythic storytelling to psychological exploration. Eastwood's comments underscored an understanding that both approaches mattered, each serving its moment in history. Together, their legacies form a continuum, showing how cinema adapts alongside society while honoring the foundations that shaped it. A living legend and an enduring influence. Now in his 90s, Clint Eastwood stands as one of the most enduring figures in film history. His career spans generations, genres, and artistic roles, from actor to director to cultural icon. Few individuals have maintained relevance for so long without sacrificing integrity or creative control. Eastwood's influence extends beyond awards and box office success. It lives in the filmmakers he inspired and the stories that continue to challenge audiences. His work reflects a lifelong commitment to authenticity, discipline, and evolution. Rather than chasing legacy, he built it quietly through consistency and conviction. As cinema continues to change, Eastwood's films remain reference points for storytelling that respects intelligence and emotional depth. His journey from a struggling young actor to a defining voice in modern film serves as a reminder that greatness is often forged through patience, resilience, and the courage to grow. Clint Eastwood's legacy is not finished. It is simply complete in its purpose.